All right, we're winging it.
We're jamming with Jimmy now. I think I fixed myself. Get small.
Today is winging it with Jimmy.
Yes. We already had our deep conversation about our futures.
We did.
At least within the next year. Jimmy's going to start his YouTube channel, he thinks.
I am, as soon as the house starts going.
Yeah. I showed them the land the other day, not that they could tell anything. And then we found out my tree is a pear tree.
It is. She doesn't like pears.
I don't like pears. Maybe it will never come to... Remember, you probably are too little to remember, but Mrs. Kalila had a pear tree.
Who was that?
Grandma's house on Rossiter.
Oh, the one, if you're looking to the right?
Yeah, she had a pear tree.
The one with the psycho dude, the older one that was little...
No. You're thinking of a different house.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, that was the other side. Yeah.
Was that the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go over there.
They were like, you could go there. They were just a little different. They were like, John ended up being a ranger.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, John was intense.
He was,
Even as a child, he was intense.
I remember him shaving his head, like with that Rambo knife on the front porch, and I was like, "Ugh."
He was a teenager at that point. But, John was always intense.
Yes.
Even as a little boy. And they used to run around with their little capes that Sandy made for them. Their mother's name was Sandy Kuzmak. Used to make their capes, and they'd be Batman and Robin and Superman and all that. And they'd jump off porches and climb trees. And then I think Joe ended up being like in the Secret Service.
Really?
Yeah. But Joe's passed away and Sandy's passed away. And but John's still, I don't know if John's still in the service though.
I would think. He does not look like the kind of guy that was going to leave.
Yeah, no, he was. Did I say he was intense?
He's not going anywhere. It's time to retire. Nope.
No. I used to babysit for Sandy when they were little, and they had a dog, Seagon, which was a Wallemeyer. I don't know what kind of dog it was. A Wallemeyer, something like that. It was a really tall, like almost looked like a greyhound. But they trained their dog to ring the doorbell. Back then, I don't know, all houses have them now, but my house on Rossiter had a front doorbell and a back doorbell. And the front doorbell would go ding dong, and then the back door would just go ding. That was all it would do. But they taught their dog when they let it out to go to the bathroom that it would ring the doorbell. It would put its paw up there and ring the doorbell to come back in. But they didn't tell me that. And I was like my first time babysitting, and it was really like spooky. It was raining, and I let the dog out to go to the bathroom, and I completely forgot because we didn't have a dog at the time. And I heard the doorbell ring, and so I go to the front door, and there's nobody there. And so I thought, one of the kids are playing ding dong tag. And so I didn't pay that much doorbell tag. And so I thought, I'm not going to pay that much attention to it. And it kept going. I got so scared, and I called my mom. Because my mom, obviously I just live right next door. And so my mom come over, and she says, there's nobody out there. So she sat with me for a little bit. And then Sandy got home. And she says, where's Seagon? And I go, Seagon? She says, oh my gosh, didn't he ring the doorbell to let you know he wanted back in? I kept hearing that damn doorbell going off all day. And I couldn't figure out all night. I couldn't figure out what it was. It was Seagon. Tell me, it's raining. It's raining. With his paw, bing, 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 let me in. But
well, I don't know if you remember, but at Grandma's house, her back doorbell got ripped off. So it just had the wires sticking out.
Yeah, you put the wires together.
And so Grandpa would tell me, when you're ready to come in, just ring the doorbell. All you do is touch the two wires together. And I'm like, okay. So, of course, being a kid, you're not like me. It's all like, it's just a doorbell, so you're not getting zapped real hard. So I'm screaming, and he's like, ring the doorbell. I'm like, I don't want to ring the doorbell.
Oh, that was so funny. Yeah. But and then we had milk chute, so if we got locked out of the house, we would just open the milk chute and have Jimmy crawl through, open the back door.
Yeah, but remember when who was it? Skippy got stuck in his,
and he was skinny.
Because we had to go into his house, and I'm like, well, we just go through the milk chute when we're locked out.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I opened up the milk chute. I go, just crawl in, and he got all the way around, and his hips got stuck in the milk chute. And he was I could just hear his fingers touching the doorknob, like, I'm like, just get like that much more, and I can get you out of there. And then I think Aunt Tammy ended up coming home like 20 minutes later, like, what in the is going on?
Yes. Yeah, we had a lot of fun growing up, I tell you.
I did.
Mary trimmed the tree and just whacked off the whole one half of the tree. Remember the Christmas tree out in front?
Oh, yeah.
Whack, 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 whack.
That was my fire station when I had my emergency stuff.
Yeah. But so anyway, we went and looked at Jimmy's land, and then it was his. I like the neighborhood. The houses are really big.
We went.
I was surprised how big they were.
I was trying to think.
He'll never have a clean car though, because it's on a dirt road.
It is on a dirt road, but I don't care. Sunday, I think it was Sunday night. We went back there. Well, he cleared the land all day Saturday. And
We
then-
went on Sunday too.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Sunday, he only worked till like 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock because it was his birthday, the guy doing it. And I'm like, you don't have to, he had to come back to bulldoze anyway, and he didn't have the bulldozer there. So he's like, I'll probably be here later in the week, so I'm taking off. So we took off. And then, of course, the whole reason I'm moving is because my neighborhood is filled with, just read my mind. So I'm trying to sit on the couch and relax. Now, mind you, we've been at this property for a day and a half straight, and it's like both our blood pressure is like way down. We're like, oh, this is awesome. It's so quiet and everything. So I'm sitting on the porch. Not that I have a problem. Well, I do have a problem with it, but
Yeah.
I got the guy across the street from us playing cornhole
Cornhole, yeah.
from like
I
100
think-
feet.
But I think they're on a tournament
Yeah, they could be, but
Yeah.
still. So I'm listening to
because
this.
they're always practicing.
And at the same time, I got the guy behind me, like, building a deck who's not even a carpenter. So half the time I laugh at what he's doing. So I'm just hearing saws and wrenches, this behind me, the dog barking over here, the kids screaming. I looked at Samantha, I go, we're going back to the property. I'm about to have a stroke. She's like, I'm fine with that. So we went back to the property. We were just sitting there hanging out, and we met two neighbors.
Well, you said the one across the street came over.
Yeah, the one across the street came over and talked to us for probably about a half hour, 45 minutes, and the other one talked to us for about 20 minutes. And they're like, oh, this is the greatest neighborhood. You're going to love it. There's kids here. I hope you don't mind. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't care about kids. I want to look at him like, you're not playing cornhole the middle afternoon. But he's like, oh, no, it's a nice neighborhood. He goes, it's awesome. We're 3 minutes from 94, and the minute you pull in here, your blood pressure just goes. And I'm like, I know. That's why I'm here.
Well, maybe there'll be somebody across the street for Alyssa.
There's two 14-year-old girls.
There you go. It'll work out
Perfect.
perfect for her.
But
As long as it's not a boy.
But there's also one 14-year-old boy.
There you
So
go.
he's got options.
So they'll all ride the bus together.
That's true.
You should have asked about the school system. You probably didn't know about it
Well,
then.
I didn't know about it then. But I know garbage day's on Monday.
Well, there you go. That's the same. Well, ours is Tuesday. We put them out on Monday.
Mine's Wednesday, because after I come home from golf, I immediately
Oh.
put it to the street. Yep, but then went yesterday and filled out the application and turned in the money for the perk test. So now we got to wait until the environmental health people
But see,
come
we
out.
almost bought property because we were going to build our own cottage, but it didn't pass the perk test.
Right.
So I
Which
don't understand
know
why
how I
you didn't. I don't know why you didn't get a perk test before you bought the property.
Because when I talked to, because there was a well on the property already, and I called around.
See, there was no well where we were buying.
Yeah, and I called around to find out who
Yeah.
dug the well and asked him how the ground was, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "You got no problem over there." He goes, "I did all the wells," and I ended up finding him, and he's the one that did the wells on every house in there.
Oh, there you go. So you're
Because
all
he
set.
was even like, "Oh, you're at the end of the street, the right-hand side, back corner." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I did that one."
See, he's like on a cul-de-sac. So like when you get
Yeah.
to like his house, you got to make the turnaround to come back.
Yep.
But I didn't. Your next door neighbor probably looks like from my house like 4 houses down.
Yeah, about the corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
so about 4 houses.
Yeah. So
But there's a big row of pine trees right in the middle
yeah, there is.
between us, so you can't see. And then there's a big row of trees on the other side, so you can't see the farmer.
Yeah, but
that's
then
on
I
the
got
other
to thinking,
side.
isn't my pear tree kind of close to the ditch?
No, your pear tree is about 6 feet away.
Oh, so the roots will just grow into the ditch.
Yeah. And I already told Tom, I'm like, "Hey, you're not allowed to touch this tree. We
That's
got
my
somebody
mom-
else bark. That's my mom's tree."
That's
and,
my tree.
And he's like, "Well, I figured I'd leave it alone." So
It doesn't look that old.
it doesn't. It's only as tall as me.
I know, it's like really kind of small. Look at it.
Actually, I'll send you a picture, and you can put it right here.
There we go. That sounds good. I tried to show them on my video, but it was kind of hard because now is that utility post going to come out, or that's going to stay?
No, that comes out.
That
That's
comes
just
out.
to mark
Just to
where-
mark it.
so they know where to dig and hook up the gas.
And my dream was always to build my own house. I always, my whole life, I kept telling Jim, "This is the year. Next year, we're going to build a house. Next year, we're going to build a house." But when we rented the house in '76, he said, "Well, we're going to rent the rest of our lives. We're never going to buy because I love it here." So I said, "Fine," because it was really convenient to everything. And then, but the VA was going to do away with the VA loans, and so he says, "No, we need to get a house." And so that's when we started looking for a house. That's when Jimmy found out we were moving.
Yeah.
And then we got in that house, and he says, "We're going to live here until the day I die." And I go, "Okay." So then the neighborhood was starting to change. It wasn't, like the safest neighborhood anymore. It wasn't like a ghetto or anything, but I mean, it was having its issues.
Right.
And then our street was
Yeah,
terrible.
hoodlums tearing up mailboxes.
Yeah.
I mean,
My own son. But I mean,
not me.
like I showed you in the other video, the street always flooded when it rained. Thankfully, our basement only flooded once. We had a little bit of water come up occasionally, but it never flooded.
Right.
This one, it actually flooded. And then the street was just falling apart, and they weren't doing any repairs. And as a matter of fact, we moved out in 2006, and they just repaired the street, about 5 years ago.
I don't even think they did that.
It's repaired because it's got new curbs and everything. And then when Danny was looking to buy his house, he was going to buy that house because it was up for sale. I don't know if you ever knew that.
I think I remember
Yeah.
that.
Well, he saw that it was on the market, and he put in a request to go visit it. And then by the time they got a hold of the realtor, somebody else had put a bid in and bought the house. So that would have been kind of weird. Moving into the house you grew up in.
Yeah,
That would have been hard for me to visit, too. It was just...
Why?
I don't know. It's just like, it's like in the past. It's like... I don't know. It would have been different to think somebody else was... Well, it was always hard because when I was having some issues with it, when I went back to give him some paperwork or something, and she had her house all decked out with her furniture and everything, and it was like, oh, I would have never done that,
Right.
With the furniture. It was like, why did you do that? It was just kind of odd. But anyway.
I had something, but you were long-winded. So
No,
I
not
forgot.
me. He's getting old. He can't remember things.
No, it was something to do with...
Moving
It was.
with the house, with the flooding of the street,
Yeah.
the hoodlums that took out the mailbox. You know what? So, I never slept with the window closed, or with the window shades down. My bedroom was on the street side, but I always liked the light coming in or whatever. I never did. But the house, we had a house across the street that was like, it wasn't directly across the street. There was a house, and then a house, and then another house like there. There was a lot of houses, obviously, but those three. And I went to bed one night, on a summer night, and it was a really warm night. I don't think you were home at that point. I think you were gone. And the next day, the police officer came to the front door and was knocking on the door, and he was looking for witnesses because the house, the far right house, somebody had done a drive-by shooting the night before and shot up the whole house. And so he...
And you didn't hear anything?
And I didn't hear anything. And I'm a very light sleeper because Jimmy will tell you, I always heard him when he came in. I always heard him.
There was no...
Yeah, no, I always heard him. Even when he was taking the fake ladder out, the pool ladder up, I always heard him. But...
I never did that.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so the police said, so, where's your bedroom in conjunction with the house? And so I said, well, it's the front of the house over on the side. And he says, and you didn't hear anything. And I go, no, I didn't hear anything. He says, well, look at the house over there. And the whole front of the house was just loaded with bullet holes. Like they must have had like machine guns or something. And I go...
And your window was open?
And my window was open. And my shades were up. I said, I didn't hear a thing. And he goes, all right, well, just take your name and we'll put cooperated but didn't witness anything. I thought, I didn't witness or hear anything. So then not too long after that, I was at work, and somebody I worked with, Lucy, who lived, was that Bar, that street that was on the corner where you got the bus? She lived 3 houses off a Bar, which was probably like 7 houses from our house. And she called me and she says, oh my God, Sandy, you got to come home. And I go, I got to, I'm on my lunch hour right now. Why? And because she had called the switchboard and had me paged because I was a manager at that point. Mm-hmm. She said, because the FBI is raiding the house across the street. Now, the house that had the built-in pool next to Joanne, they raided the house because he was embezzling from his company. And they came in with a wham and whammed the door, and that was the whole...
How do you embezzle from your own company?
Not the company he worked with, I meant.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, the company he worked for. But and so the FBI was everywhere. But by the time I got home, they were gone. But then I told Jim, I said, I think it's time to move.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of these two things. But I was going to tell you something about Lucy. And I see that my memory's going. Did you ever think of yours yet? Rattle on. Can't think of what it was. Something about, because Lucy had called me about the thing at the house. I don't know.
You were at work, and
I
you
was
said
at work,
the
and
FBI raided.
The FBI raided, yeah. I lost it. You lost yours and
I
didn't get
lost
yours
mine
back.
way about
You didn't
5
get-
minutes ago.
And you didn't get yours back. I know it was a story about the shooting up the house and listening to not hearing anything, but
Which
anyway.
one was Lucy?
Lucy was the operator, switchboard operator. She had black hair and glasses.
And she lived on Bar?
No, she lived on Thornton, but she lived just off a bar. Oh, I thought of what it was. I remember what it was. When I would watch David and Alyssa when they were little. No, more so David, because David... No, not even David. Why were we...
David.
Yeah, it would have been David, because I still
Yeah.
would have been over there. I was trying to think. It wouldn't have been Alyssa, because Alyssa was
Alyssa
when I
wasn't.
moved over here.
Right.
But it was David, and I was watching David. And he would ride his bike, and he'd only go... he could go like to the corner, which was 2 houses down that way, because when I could see on the porch. And then he could only go down 3 houses the other way, because that's as far as I could see him, because there was all these trees that were over there. And so then Jimmy came and, we always, when he picked him up after work, we'd sit on the porch and we'd talk a little bit. And then David went past the trees, and so I started yelling at him, get back here, you can't go past the trees. And then he goes, I don't know what the big deal is, it's an extra 1 or 2 houses. And I says, because there's a pedophile that lives in that house. He, David!
I do remember that.
He says, so that's why he can't go past the trees. I says, I didn't tell David that, but that's why, because the guy had the sign on the door that you're not allowed to, Well, the way he got around that, it was like he had a pool, and so he had a sign on his gate with like a little kid drowning, and it said no kids allowed. Like it implied that because he had a pool, no kids were allowed, but no, he was on the list.
Did he knock on the door, though?
Who, David?
No, the guy. Or did they not have to do that back then?
I don't think they had to do that back then. I think you just had to know. They let the neighborhood know, or else we were on a watch thing, a neighborhood watch or something, so I knew it. But I thought, I'm not letting him go past where I can't see him, especially when I know that guy lives there.
Exactly.
But if you could have seen Jimmy's face, like,
Priceless. Someone was about to go down.
Anyway, I thought of mine. I have a better memory than Jimmy, I guess.
No. What were we talking? I don't even remember what we were talking about 10 minutes ago.
We were talking about your property with the tree, the pear tree, how close the neighbors were, the boy across the street.
I remember. Okay.
I had to remind him.
So we were there Saturday morning early, and Samantha had to go to the bathroom, so there's no bathroom.
place to go to the bathroom.
No place to go to the bathroom. So we had to go up to the Love's gas station. So I
That gas station on the corner doesn't have a bathroom? The little party center?
Mobile. Yeah, the mobile does.
Oh, okay.
But Love's does too, because she wanted to switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I
she's
like
like,
those
I don't
like
want
that.
to. She goes, I don't want to go there every day.
Yeah.
Thing. So I told Tom, I'm like, hey, I'm going up there. That's why we went to Love's. I go, I got to take her to the bathroom. Do you want a coffee or something? He goes, yeah, I'll have a coffee. And I go, all right. So went up there, went to Love's, got a coffee, came back, and I was going to put my muck boots on, and her boots are just small little boots.
I
They
saw her
slip
boots.
right on,
Like rubber boots.
Yeah. So, we got her new ones after this. So I'm
I
like,
saw them. They had like little ladybugs or something on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, she's not wearing those anymore. You'll see why.
Oh.
So I go, hey, why don't you run this coffee out to Tom while I'm putting my boots on? Because mine are a little more involved, because
Yeah.
they come up to my knee and all that. So I look over and she doesn't put them on. She just went out there with her tennis shoes. So she's walking out there and I see her stop. And then I kind of look and I'm like waiting to see if she's okay. And then she keeps walking. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I see 2, and thinking back,
Right.
I'm like 2 white shoes
Yeah.
walking. So then I put my last boot on and I look up and she's just swearing. She's laughing, but
Yeah.
she's just, and I look over and I'm like, what's wrong? Well, she's sunk to her knee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is muddy.
So she was trying to get her shoe out, and she was sinking while she was getting her shoe out, so she's sinking again. Well, she finally got the shoe out, but then fell in the mud. Right?
She told me this story.
So then she fell in the mud. She's like, oh my God.
And she told me you were videotaping it.
Well, no, she thought I was. I
Oh.
videotaped her on the way to the car, which just
Yeah.
heard her swearing, so we can't put that on
Yeah.
there. But she was laughing the whole time. Like it wasn't. We had a good time about it, but she's. I'm
Yeah, because we've got a lot of rain.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought you were still walking in your white shoes. She goes, no, that was my socks. So like they got stuck, and she kept walking in her socks to give him
His
the
coffee.
coffee. And then he's like, I see your shoe over there, and I can see him pointing, but I couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
But that was funny. I'm like, she's like, so then we walked later in the day. This is where she lost the boot. And she went up to like this much at the top of the boot.
Yeah.
To where I had to go out there and I was like trying to pull the boot out and I ripped the whole boot.
Oh,
trying
wow.
to get it out. I'm like, we're going to get you some real stuff, not this Target, $12 boot. Well, that's $100 for boots. I'm like, or you can pay $12 17 more times.
Oh. Anyway, that's us today.
All right.
Like,
Subscribe,
comment.
share.
Here we go. Okay, Wackadoodle here just thought of what it was.
I
He really
remember.
remembered what it was. It wasn't the story he told you.
It wasn't the story I told. I remember. So when the guy was clearing the land, he goes, "Oh, you guys are building a house." He goes, "That's the true test of a relationship. So you guys have been together long, so you guys got to figure it out." And I go, "Yeah, we got to figure it out. I'm the building part, the construction part, and she's the financial part. So she takes care. As long as each one of them, we've already said, as long as we both stay in our lane,
Right.
we're good." And so then she's like joking around. She goes, "Well, there might be, we might switch some lanes every once in a while. You're going to build it the way I want." And I go, yeah, I get it. Then he goes, "Well, if you can make it through this, you can make it through anything. Because, you've been together this long. I'm sure you both know who the boss is." And both of us at the same time were like, "Yep, me." And he's like, "Oh, you guys are going to do great." So that was the thought.
That was the memory.
Yes.
Okay, goodbye again.